Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024. I'm Thomas Caldwell of the Aurelian Column, and this is a special report. Boy, this is turning into some week, isn't it? Well, I've gotten quite a few questions. I was thinking of doing a Q&A today, but I think since all of this is regarding the recent attempt on the life of Donald Trump and the political goings-on and intrigue in the United States, and people asking questions of which the answers don't really seem to make sense, I thought I would just address this based on the feedback I've gotten, both the stuff by email and messages, and also some phone calls from some people I haven't spoken to in a while. First off, when other people have been attacked in American history, namely John F. Kennedy, it was quite a while before people started to develop theories that something wasn't quite right. I have my own view on that and why things looked the way they did, etc. But let's just say that we live in a time where everybody has a phone and every phone has a camera, and these cameras are of extremely good quality, and people have access to massive amounts of information by way of the internet and a way to share information, and nobody buys that this is just some silly kid who just decided one day to jump in his van and go shoot Trump. There's too many things that are coming out too quickly, too many former military snipers and law enforcement people that are going on that are pointing this out, and I predict we will get to the bottom of this. Now, even though the FBI are in charge of the investigation, and they demonstrated how reliable they really are when it came to the Hunter Biden laptop. And I don't know if you guys read any of that stuff that was online, but if you did, you'd want nothing to do with anyone in the Biden clan. You'd want to, run them out of town on a rail, as they said. But I do believe that self-interest is going to kick in here. And I think that everyone in the FBI who are in there because it's an iron rice bowl, to use the Chinese term, they got great benefits, good pay, retirement at full salary, and they're going to have a good life. I don't think anyone is going to allow themselves to be politicized over this one. There's too much at stake. Now, this does not mean that there isn't a problem with the deep state. Now, to answer some questions that were sent to me, one, do I believe the deep state is real? And the answer is absolutely. Anyone who's been around D.C. long enough knows that one. I mean, just look at people like Bill Gates, who frankly made software, and now he's an expert at all the problems in the world about overpopulation or diseases, or, come on. All these people at the World Economic Forum. When people, for some reason, have a lot of wealth or a lot of power, for whatever reason they got it, even if they just made computer games, they think that they know better than we do, and that's not the case. Yes, the deep state exists. And do I think, the other question here, do I think the deep state had something to do with this? And I would say, most probably, but we aren't sure at this time. However, the more and more of the information about this assassination attempt with Trump that comes out, the more and more it looks like this guy was not operating alone. And that is rather disturbing. Anyways, I think self-interest is going to kick in, and the system is going to correct itself to the extent it can. Now, things to watch out for. And I would be very careful, because I do suspect that there's a lot more sinister organization behind keeping Trump out of power than most people would be comfortable realizing. You can look for, I think, another attempt on his life. I hope that doesn't happen, but I'd be surprised if it didn't. But what I really think you're going to start seeing is some false flag operations going. That's also a possibility. Again, as I've been predicting for more than a year now, the establishment, the deep state, is going to do everything they can that's legal and illegal to keep this guy out of power. They missed, but they're still just as scared, if not more so. There's also an awful lot of shenanigans going on behind the scenes. I would follow that very carefully. And, of course, the Secret Service, well, just follow what's going on as much as you can. It's happening too quickly for most people to just report on like I'm doing. Now, the one thing I do want to pass on, and this is something you're going to see tomorrow night when Trump formally accepts the nomination of the Republicans to run for president, you're going to see a different man. Because even though he wasn't killed by that bullet that whizzed by his head and took off a piece of his ear, that man no longer exists. If you saw him the other night when he walked onto the stage and you've been hearing the reports that he has changed, I guarantee you that Trump is not around anymore. We have someone new. When someone has come through a near-death experience, without exception, they go through a change. This happened to Ronald Reagan in 1981 when he was shot by Hinckley. He almost died. He had a very different view of the world and a very different view towards other people, and he was better for it, to be fair, because the Ronald Reagan that existed before the attempt on his life and the one that came after, was able to do business with the Soviet Union and bring it to the Cold War to an end. The one that existed before he was hit by an assassin's bullet, totally different creature. You're hearing reports now that Trump is toning things down. He's toning down his rhetoric. He's toning down his aggression. This is a guy who has come very close to leaving this world and all that he values behind. Whether or not he's better for it remains to be seen. But I predict you're going to see a very moderate version of Mr. Trump from here on in. In my view, when somebody has faced their own mortality, they have a very sobering view of the world and themselves and how they can affect change and what change they want to affect. I have an old business associate. I won't name him. He's rather well known, but he had a heart attack some years ago. He had made a lot of money in his line of work. He did very well for himself, but he had a heart attack and came very close to dying in the back of an ambulance. And he pulled out of it, and then he decided to take his money and his time and his resources and put it into philanthropy. I've never heard of somebody coming out of a near-death experience and being a worse person. Might happen. But Trump, of the kind that most people have fallen in love with, is not there anymore, is what I predict you're going to see. You're going to see someone who has the same passion, the same love of his country and the love of people, and I really don't think he's lost that, nor do I think he's capable of losing that. But you're going to see a guy who's a lot more moderate. And this is something that could end up being a better solution for everyone. We'll see what happens tomorrow night, but that's one of the reasons I wanted to record this today, is Trump has had a brush with mortality, and for a leader of a country, that's a real good thing for everybody involved. Anyways, I do have some other work coming down the pipe, folks. I've been meaning to finish up on. I do have a Q&A that's a lot more formal than the one that we have today. In the meantime, if you like what you hear, please pass this on to others. Be sure to subscribe. Consider a paid subscription. Boy, do I want to spend a lot of time on things this summer, and that would help. If you need to contact me, I can be reached at feedback@aureliancolumn.com. That's feedback@aureliancolumn.com. I can also be reached up on X, formerly known as Twitter. My handle there is MICCAMPEN. That's MICCAMPEN. I can be reached by direct message on Substack, which is aureliancolumn.substack.com if you want to find the page. I'm up on Telegram and a few other social media outlets. I am not on Facebook. Don't look for me there. You will never see me on Facebook, ever again. And it's been that way for some years now. In the meantime, until you hear from me again, which may be over the next couple of days, be good, be safe, be vigilant, be peaceful, be smart, and good day.